John is one of our guests that comes to the morning breakfast that we serve 4 mornings a week. I urge you to consider coming sometime, speak to me, and I'll let you know how you can do that. It's a baby step into getting into the world that others are living in. Just to let you know, Brent has been doing this regularly on Saturday mornings, and he just feels it's invigorating and transforming for him. I want to also recognize that one of our residents outdoors is also with us, Colin. Many remember you from when you gave your story as well. And this is my friend John, also from the breakfast, and a good friend. John is a gentleman from an indigenous background. He is a caregiver. He lives with others in the vicinity of the corner of First and Jefferson. He has his eye on everybody there. People I've known for years are in desperate need of the kind of caregiving that he provides. He has literally saved a few lives. Recently, he applied for a position at the New Day Bakery and starts work tomorrow morning. So, and I can't really overestimate just how valuable he has been to me and to the team of people that work with us at the breakfast. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay, my turn now. Okay, my name is John Rathbun. Originally, I'm from Michigan. I was a machinist for a majority of my life over there, about 18 years. And then this thing went through called NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. My job got sent overseas. So that was the beginning of my tumble. I lost everything. My home, my cars, everything. From there, I had to switch careers, and I left Michigan because Michigan was on a steady downfall. As you guys all know, you guys finally felt the trickle-down effect over here of the NAFTA agreement. It started the banking industry to collapse, and then next thing you know, they were used car salesmen and home salesmen because they had to repossess everything. But anyways, so I had to change careers, and I left Michigan. I went to Hawaii, and I was out there working. I built 40 multi-millionaire homes over there in Manalani Estates, Kukio, and Four Seasons. And then the stock market crashed, and they said drop the tool belts. Everybody lost everything. So onto the beach I went. So I became a beach bum. Do I surf? Yes, I can, but I'm not a surfer. It never took. But I hung out there for a few more years, and then I left Hawaii, came to Eugene, and I lived here for a while. And what else? I did HVAC with geothermal. I do electrical, I do plumbing, I do all facets of construction and stuff like that. But the problem with construction and stuff is you get to the point where your bones don't work right. You wear yourself out, and you can't do all that stuff that you do anymore. And unfortunately, I'll be 62 in a couple more months, and I'm worn out. So I had to switch to a much easier career like baking. But 4 o'clock in the morning comes real early. So I've been back and forth to Hawaii. Out of all my life, I've lived there about 12 years. I usually go there for 3 years, and I'll come back here for 3 years, go there for 3 years, and come here. The reason I like coming here so much is because Eugene it's probably, of all the places I live, Eugene is the most acceptable to the homeless people. And y'all care about us, and you treat us as human beings. A majority of you. But there are some that, they come by at night, they shoot us with them airsoft pistols, and they'll throw water on us, and they'll curse at us and stuff like that. But it's like, you don't understand the plight that we're going through. It's hard because even though I just got accepted at this company, and I'll be working, but the rent here is so high, it's like all my money will basically go to rent and stuff like that. So I'm working, but I'm still going to be on the streets, and that's a predicament, especially when you're in food handling and stuff like that, because you have to be cleanliness because you don't want to do cross-contamination. So that's going to be a predicament for me, but I'll figure it out. And let me see what else. I've had a couple dealings with the police because they like to group us all together. They call us all homeless. You guys are all the same. And it's like, no, some of us aren't the same. I understand that. I don't do drugs. I don't even smoke pot. I drink beer, but I'm trying to quit. So give me a lot of help on that one because it's been a long time. But I'm doing real well. And but anyways, I've been at the mission for 2.5 years. I was there. And then one of my caseworkers, we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And he's 20 years younger than me. And I told him one day, we kind of got into a discussion. Not a heated discussion, but a discussion. He's trying to tell me I got to do this and I got to do that and this and that and the other thing. And I was like, okay, look at here, sir. I've owned 2 homes in my life. I've owned 3 different businesses. I've been to Hawaii 6 different times. Have you done any of that? Now, what makes you think you're going to tell me what to do in life? I've already done way more than you have ever achieved. You're fresh out of prison and you think you know everything and you just got this chip on your shoulder and you think you're going to push me around because you got authority. I said, where I come from, we're taught to respect our elders, and I'm 20 years older than you. I want you to remember this, to treat me as a human being, not as a homeless person. So he didn't like that. He was like, all right, pack your bags, you're out of here. So I'm out in the middle of the wintertime. And luckily, I found friends that helped me out. I got a sleeping bag and stuff like that, and I was able to survive. And I still care about people, especially the homeless. I see a lot of them and they're lost. And you see the drug addictions, you see the alcoholism, but believe it or not, that's the side effect. There's something else that happened in their life to put them in that position. And a lot of times they resort to drugs and alcohol because they want to feel something better than what they feel, what has happened to them in the past and stuff like that. And the problem is they get wrapped up into it. And you have to look at yourself and you have to realize the choices that you have made is what got you here. And a lot of people don't want to face that. They don't want to see that, so they hide in the drug or the alcohol or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's a sad thing, and I see it all the time, and I talk to everybody about it, and I keep telling them, I'm sorry, but we haven't invented the time machine. We can't go back. We can't fix it. What happened is happened, and you have to learn that sometimes good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. It's just the way life is. It's not always a bowl of cherries, so you have to get over these things. Am I still live? I just lost it.
Yeah, I think it will change.
I ran out of electricity.
Really? There's another mic.
Can I get that way?
Yeah. You're hot.
I'm hot. Okay, here we go again. All right, and I keep telling them, when you get caught up in the drugs or the alcohol and you keep telling yourself the same story over and over again, it's not me, it's the world, it's not me. It's like, no. You've made choices in your life, good, bad, or indifferent, but those choices are what put you here. And sometimes you make bad choices, but you can always undo it. As long as you're still walking and talking, you can undo these choices. You can't change the past, but you can change what you do in the future. And so I try to inspire them to become better. And I keep telling them, just because we're homeless don't think bad about that, because some of the greatest people on earth that one I worship and the other one I admire, and that's Jesus and Gandhi. They were homeless too. They didn't have 48-bedroom homes and stuff like that. They wandered out in the desert and stuff like that. Even Moses was homeless when he was wandering around for all them years in the desert. Being a homeless person, not that bad. It's what you do when you're homeless. And that leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about. I read in the Eugene Weekly newspaper, and there's 2 articles in there about the homeless. And I found them very disturbing, because I understand why they're going to do this, but it's like you have to be cautious on what you're doing. They're going to kick all the homeless out of downtown. And everybody knows, it's all the homeless, we know that. When it comes down to these big events, because Eugene is the home of track and field and everything. Everybody from the world comes here to train. And so it's like, okay, you guys got to get out of that area. But some of the people, they don't want to go. They're throwing trash on the ground. We don't have access to bathrooms and stuff like that. As you know, if you're not a customer, you're not coming in. And part of the criteria of being homeless is you got to be broke. And restaurants don't take EBT, so we're not customers, so we're not allowed to use their facilities. So when you gotta go, they're gonna go somewhere. And they're talking about putting more bathrooms and stuff like that down there. But the problem with putting the bathrooms down there is they got this drug called fentanyl. And they put it on oil and they smoke it, and then they'll nod out. You'll see people, they'll be locked into position, they'll be like, and they're just standing there like that. Those are the fentanyl users. And they'll go into these bathrooms because they can't use they call it a torch. It's the butane lighter that shoots out this flame, and it's really hot, and it'll burn a hole in the boiling. So they can't use them, so they got to use big lighters, and big lighters will get blown out all the time. And because of the cost of the drug, they'll go into these bathrooms, these porta potties, and they'll pass out in the porta potty, and they're in there for hours, so nobody can get in there and use them. So it creates a situation. So, am I still live?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know what the answer is. I've discussed this with a few people, and I think maybe I should bring it up with City Council. And they got this place called Amsterdam. Okay, in Amsterdam, it's not legal to walk around and do drugs. They had this place called the Red Light District. Within that Red Light District, you can go there, you can do your drugs. But the minute you come out of the Red Light District, you better not have no drug paraphernalia. You better not be doing it on the streets, because they'll arrest you. You can only do it inside of this Red Light District. And I was wondering if maybe they would consider doing that and put it these little places where they can do their fentanyl and stuff like that, be out of the wind and stuff. So it'd free up the bathrooms. Now, and they discussed about people throwing trash on the ground. I've seen this before, and I know of a couple people, not all homeless people do this, but I know a couple of them that do this, and they'll fish through the trash cans, and they'll just take stuff out and just throw it on the ground, and then they'll leave. Sometimes they'll take it. Why they take it, I don't know. They think there's some use for a 3-wheeled shopping cart and stuff like that. It's like, no, dude, it's not going to work right. But anyways, it just needs another wheel. Yeah, I know that, but you got any tools? No. How you going to put the 4th wheel on there if you ain't got no tools? But see, they're not thinking clear-headedly because they're on the drug. But anyways, not all of us are like that. I'm not like that. I'm one person that I care about people. I drink, but I don't drink like to get drunk and pass out. I don't do that. I just take the edge off, and I function, and I try to help as many as I can. I give out anything I got. I usually give away, except things that I necessarily need in life. But I keep a bare minimum. But if people give me things like Pastor Wayne does, he gave me a tent. I ended up giving that to Dominique because he didn't have a tent, and they've been doing this thing. They've been coming around when we go to the feed Wednesday through Saturday, And I usually leave my bike and trailer over with my buddies and stuff like that to watch, because some of them don't come to the beat. Well, the last time this happened, it was a day when the diner was closed because they were remodeling it. They were fixing something. I guess the water in the driveway was leaking into the diner, so they had to close it down to fix it. So the good people that beat us on Wednesday through Saturday, they decided to beat us Monday and Tuesday. Well, because this came at a last minute thing, they were understaffed, so they asked me to help. And sometimes I help serve the homeless. And that just happened to be the day that I left all my stuff down there. And the police, they just come and they swoop everybody's stuff and they take it off. And to me, I think that is very wrong. I think that is a violation of the Second Amendment, the right to own property and stuff like that. But that's a whole different discussion. They call it abandonment because they say if you go 10 feet away from it, you abandon it. And it's like, well, what if I have to go use the bathroom? Is that abandonment also? You know, let's say you go to work. Can I go into that house and take everything because you abandoned it? You know, you can't do that. That's not right. A lot of this stuff is all we have. Well, they ended up taking all my stuff, and I was really disturbed by it. And somebody came down and told me. So luckily I was done beating, so I ran down there as fast as I could, and I seen it all in the back of the truck. And he's like, well, why weren't you here? I said, because I was down there serving food because there wasn't enough staff to serve food, so I was feeding the homeless, and I had to stay. And he's like, well, we're impounding it. I said, why? He said, because you abandoned it in front of the store. And I said, my stuff wasn't in front of the store. It was over here on the easement in between the sidewalk and the curb, and I thought that that's where I could leave it. You know, I know not to put my stuff in front of the store because then you can get us for trespassing. He says, well, I'm not going to discuss it. It's in the back of the truck. You got to go over to Garfield to go pick it up. I said, all right, I'll be over there in a minute. So I went all the way over to Garfield, and I get there and I'm talking to him about my stuff, and he brought out my bike cart, and I asked him, where's my backpack? And he says, oh, we found drug paraphernalia in there. And I says, wrong. I says, let me tell you what, I don't do drugs. I don't even smoke pot. I drink beer. And there was absolutely zero drug paraphernalia in my vehicle. Did you lose me?
Yeah.
Just okay, I'm alive again. Okay. Okay, so I says, yeah, zero drug paraphernalia. I had nothing. He says, well, we found syringes. I says, syringes? Oh, yeah. And a bag clearly marked Norcan with the inhalers with it. Yes. Actually, those are anti-drug paraphernalia. Those are to save lives of people that OD. He says, well, they're drug paraphernalia.
Pause.
So they threw my backpack away. And I said, well, what about my work coat? And he goes, yeah, we threw that away too. I said, why'd you throw my work coat away? He said, because it's dirty. And I said, no, sir. Those are called stains. You can't get them out. Trust me, that coat has been washed many times. And those stains are by people like me who work real hard. I crawl underneath people's houses and stuff like that. And I get stains on them, and some of them come from factories and stuff like that. I says, anyways, my phone was in my right pocket and my wallet was in my left pocket. He says, it's too bad. It's already gone. So I lost everything. And I got my bike cart back, and that was it. I understand the police have their hands full with the homeless, I get it. But not all of us are the same. There are some out there that act very extremely obnoxious when they get on their stuff. But there's a lot of us out there that we're not like that. We're just trying to survive. So I hope that you guys can do something and talk to people or whatever, you know, at city council or whatnot, and speak on our behalf. And I have no problems in going to city council meetings. The only problem is the last city council meeting I went to, it was in Hawaii. That one didn't work out so well. I was going, the deputy mayor was there, the chief of police, and there was a couple other police officers with badges on. And they were talking about the homeless people and stuff like that. That was what the city council meeting was the homeless problem. And because I'm very involved and I'm not, what do you call, I'm not wet-brained, I'm not a drug addict, I can think clearly and I function very well. And I happen to be kind of smart, so all of the homeless wanted me to go to find out what it was all about. So I went there, and the lady who was supposed to be there was Josephine Ibarra. She was supposed to be there. And she was running the mission over there in Kona on the Big Island. And at the last minute, she found out that I was going, so she didn't go. And she sent 2 rookies. One was only there for 1 month, and the other one was only there for 3 months. So they had no idea what's going on in Hawaii with the homeless situation. They're just brand new employees. So we go to the city council meeting, and everybody speaks their piece, and they're talking about prostitutes and stuff like that, and the way that they're dressing. And I informed them, those aren't prostitutes. Those are young girls that are dressing very seductively. I wouldn't call them that because you're going to end up in some trouble. I says, I know the prostitutes out there, and there were 3 of them. They're mahus. And for those of you that don't know what mahu means, it's a boy transgendering as a girl. That's what they call them in Hawaii. But anyways, they come from Oahu because they heard that there were no prostitutes over there in Kona. So they came over there, and I know them, and I helped them out where to stay and where to work and stuff like that. But anyways, and I explained this to the city council meeting. And I told them, okay, and they were like, well, why are you guys on the street? We gave you a building. And I said, no, you did not. You never gave us a building. It was the Car Foundation that gave us the building because they were, part of the deal was they had to build us a building for the homeless, and then they had to put $250,000 cash into this homeless fund. And the police were there because they wanted that $250,000 because they wanted to put all these cameras up all over the town. And I told them, you can't do that. That's illegal because on the mainland, we call that misappropriation of funds. You can't take that money. I says, now about the building that you said you gave us, you didn't give us that. Part of the deal for them to get into the Hawaiian Acres was to they had to build that house for the homeless, plus they had to put the $250,000 in there. And that's to help the homeless. And the problem was the staff that worked at the mission, they had offices in the St. Michael's Church. And once that building was built, they moved from St. Michael's Church and they turned that building that was supposed to house the homeless, they turned it into offices. So the homeless were still on the streets. There was nothing that was given to us. We were still on the streets, even though they misappropriated things. And well, when you're 3,500 miles off the coast of Oregon, you can pretty much do anything you want because they know we're going to see you. So they get away with funny things like that. But anyways, they were all talking to me about the drugs and stuff like that. And I told them, I said, yeah, you guys have a massive ice problem out here. How are you going to stop it? I don't know. I said, good luck. Because once they get addicted, there it is, they're addicted to it. And it's very prevalent because it's, to sell drugs on the street, it's like selling ice cubes in the Sahara Desert. I mean, it just sells itself. Anybody, I mean, you got, any one of you can become a multi-millionaire in 1 year just selling drugs. And I see why a lot of these people get into it, and it's like, it's easy to make money. And it's your way out the streets, but the problem is you get caught and you're in trouble. And I remember when it was illegal to for meth and stuff like that here, and then they made it legal where anything under, what was it? Anything under 8 ball, which is 3.5 grams, you only get a ticket. So that invited everybody to come to Eugene. And they created this mess because they allowed them to come here. Well, now that they came here, they decided, okay, there were problems because now you got all these people stealing and stuff because it's so expensive for that stuff. It's $10 for 1/10 of a gram. So basically it's $100 a gram. And that ain't much. Trust me, it ain't much. It's just a little dinky ass, oops, excuse my language, little dinky shard of rock, crystal, and it's real sad. It's sad, drug problem, and they seen all this problem because they're not making the money that they should recycling. Majority of them don't do it because there's so much competition in recycling that they resort to stealing and stuff. And they decided to crack down on it and make it illegal again. Well, the problem is they're here now. It's like they spent everything they had to come here to evade getting arrested. And now you're stuck with them. And they come here in droves. And during the summertime, the population grows because we have some summer Eugene homeless. During the wintertime, they'll go down to Cali or somewhere down south where it's warm. Because as you know, it rains in Eugene. And they don't like it and it gets cold. But during the summertime, they come back. And recently, the past couple of days, I've been seeing completely different bases. So more people are coming back, and it's growing huge at the beads and stuff like that. And it's remarkable how many homeless that I see coming there, and a lot of them they get bonkers in the head and they end up in jail, but they just slap their hand and release them. I've seen things go on that would never happen where I come from, back in Michigan. When you get I've seen people that are on parole and probation and they violate, and in Michigan it's mandatory, you violate, you're 90 days minimum. And sometimes they get sent to prison. Here, they just hold them for a day or so and then they let them back out. And it's like, I know a guy that's violated parole 3 times and he only did 10 days. On all 3 times he violated, committing new crimes, and he's on parole. And it's like, yeah, it's not working, slapping their hands, you're gonna have to do something.
Do you have family?
Yes, I do. My family, it's kind of peculiar. Half of my family live in Michigan, and the other half of my family live in Hawaii on the Big Island. And I choose Oregon because, well, the ones that are in Michigan, they're about 2,700 miles away. And my sister and my nieces and nephews in Hawaii, they're 3,500 miles away. When we had our family business, I was in product development. We started out as we used to make laser jet cartridges, refurbish them. And then Staples came out and Office Max came out, and they were selling used cartridges for laser jet printers, so it shut us down. We couldn't compete with the big boys, so it shut us down. So then we had to come up with a new idea, and my brother wanted to get into, we bought this huge plotter machine. He wanted to make stickers and stuff like that, and I was like, no, let's get into this, what do you call it? CNC plasma cutting tables, and we could take the plasma cutter, take that up, and we could put routers on there. And he was talking to me about it. He's like, well, we don't know nothing about that. And I says, Joe, don't you know how to do the rebuilding the what do you call it? The copy machines and your printers, right? And he's like, yeah. I says, it works under the same principles. The only difference is you're on an X and Y dealing with that, because it goes up and down and left and right. That's your X and Y axis. With the plasma cutting table, the plasma cutter will go up and down also, so that your X, Y, Z format. I says, and you already know it, and it's already out there in programs. You just transfer it into the computer, and then we can control this machine. We just need to build the machine. And so we ended up building plasma cutting tables, and it was great for a while, but it went to my brother's head. He bought a $500,000 home, and he was going out to eat every night, and he just burned up the cash, and well.
And you had to convince him to do it.
Yes, he didn't want to do it.
He did that.
Yeah, and so I come up with the idea, we built the machines and everything, and then money went to his head. And in the end, we ended up selling the business. I call it selling the business. All we did was we sold a debt, but he convinced the guy to buy it, and he lost his butt because we were so far behind. We were using the down payment from 3 machines later to pay for the 1 machine that we were working on because he's burning through the cash.
Just clarify, ice.
Yes. Ice is 10 times worse than meth. It's blue in color, and it's very peculiar. Luckily, it hasn't hit over here. I've heard it hit over here a couple times, but they figured out how to stop it. And that's why you don't hear ice out here. But it's much worse than meth. And from the people I talked to, and I watched them when they smoke their meth, it's called a bubble. It's a glass pipe with a ball on the end with a hole on top, and on the stem, that's where you suck through. And but they do the same thing with ice, but ice is different. They heat it up and then they roll it around the bowl and it frosts the inside of the bowl, and then they smoke that frost. But meth, it doesn't do that. It just stays in a puddle, and they have to keep rolling it back and forth because they say if you don't, it'll burn. So they have to roll it back and forth, and you can't get it too hot, I guess, because it'll burn it. And you gotta kind of keep this temperature, constant temperature.
Are there housing options out there that some people could take advantage of, but you don't really feel comfortable doing so?
Yes, and the problem with that is they put you on a waiting list. I'm on these housing lists, and there's 6 months to a year waiting list. And the problem is the people that get them, they'll even sublease them out to somebody else, and they'll take that money and they'll go and buy drugs, and then they get kicked out, and then it's a revolving door, and you're not supposed to have any. Once you're on them lists, the government subsidized housing and stuff like that, you can't move people into your house, and they will move people into their house. You can give me so much of this or so much of that, bartering trade, drugs usually. And they don't want a house. They want free living is what they want. When I was at the mission, I had a discussion with them folks about this, and they were forcing everybody to fill out paperwork, and I told them, I don't have a job. I can't pay more. Well, you got to fill out the paperwork anyways. I said, so what am I going to do? I'm going to go there. They'll pay my rent for 3 months, and after 3 months, they're going to repossess all my furniture and everything like that because I ain't got no way to move it. So I'm right back here again. So I'm on a revolving circle. I said, the problem is I can get a job, but it doesn't pay enough for me to stay in that apartment. And I don't want to get into a relationship just to pay rent. And it's like, nah, you're supposed to do that for love. It's not financial gain. So I'm caught in this circle of damned if I do, damned if I don't kind of scenario. So, but yes, they do have a bunch of housing. From what I understand, they're going to be opening a building over here by the fairgrounds. I think it's over there. Yep. There's 2 buildings over there, from what I understand. So, however many they're going to house there, it's supposed to be low-cost housing. And if I could get into that, they adjust my rent to my pay, so I'd be able to stay there. And food is nice to be able to buy food.
Hey, John,
Sir.
I've heard there are stories of generosity and mutual support among the homeless. Do you have any stories like that?
Yeah, from the folks that feed us, they help us out a lot. Is that what you mean, or do you mean about the homeless helping the homeless?
Right.
Okay.
Mutual support.
Yes. Because we're in this situation, like I said, my friends came together and they gave me a bike, and it was remarkable that they all came together to help me. But they know that I'm a caring person and I help them out a lot. So I was kind of baffled by it that they helped me like that, because it's a nice bike. It's a Garrett Bishop bike, which isn't a cheap brand. And so I ended up with a nice bike, and the last bike I had, this guy at the mission, he just got out of prison, and he kept bumming cigarettes with me and stuff from me all the time, and he couldn't get a job because they have this strict rule that you can't get a job for 90 days. And he had no money and stuff like that, and he told me he was a barber when he was in prison. So I went down and I spent $80 of my money, and I bought him the nicest walls trimmer with the cape and the scissors and all that, and I gave it to him. Well, I seen him about a year later, and he come up to me and he goes, "Hey, I need to borrow your bike. I'm going to go down here to the Rose Garden to meet somebody, and I'll be right back." And I was like, "I don't like loaning out my bike, bro." He's like, "I remember when you bought me that cape and stuff like that, and I never ripped you up because you helped me out so much so I can make some money." So I said, "All right." So that was the last of that bike he took off. So there are some people that will take full advantage of your generosities, and there are some people that they really need help. So you have to be cautious on how you help people, because a lot of them will take full advantage of you. And I see a lot of it when they come to Pastor Wayne, and he likes giving them $5 every now and then, and it's like a lot of them, like this one guy, he gets a check every month, $600. Okay, I get food stamps. That's all I get. And he goes to the bar. He'll drop quarter after quarter after quarter in this poker machine, and he'll spend $100 a day. And by the end of the week, he's flat broke, asking me for cigarettes, asking me for money, for a beer, and all this. And it's like, dude, I get EBT. You get $600 a month. I have to jump in trash cans, pull out cans and plastic bottles to recycle them. And you're still asking me for money. And yet, you and your partner, you'll recycle also. And you'll go on my exact route because you watch where I go. And you'll take the ones that I'm trying to get. And yet, you get $600 a month cash, and I get absolutely nothing. And then he'll also go to Wayne all the time and ask him for money and stuff like that. He'll ask anybody and everybody for money. And it's like, dude. And I told him, when he gets paid, I told him, go get a big pouch, 1 pound bag of tobacco. It costs you $20. You buy packs of cigarettes when you get your check. 2 packs of cigarettes will cover that whole pouch, and that whole pouch will last you the whole month. But he won't do that. He says, "I don't like rolling." I said, "Yeah, but you like me rolling, don't you? You like me paying for you." And I says, "I can't do that. I can't carry you. You're an adult just like me. You have to figure out what to do, and you're wasting money. And that's why you're here on the streets, because you're wasting money. You need to restructure your life." And he ended up with scabies and lice, and he kept coming around me, and I was like, "Dude, I don't want you around me. You get a paycheck, you can go buy medicine, you can take care of that, and you've had it for months now, and you don't even care. You just..."
It's pretty bad. Avery?
My question was, can you tell us about your spiritual path or your spiritual life? And like, where do you find hope?
It's hard. I'm a Christian. I was baptized when I was 18. I was living in Amarillo, Texas. I was a full-grown adult when I accepted Jesus into my life. And it's hard. It's one of the hardest paths to stay on, because in the homeless realm, you run into so much chaos, nonsense, and it's as if I must be living in the middle of Sodom and Gomorrah is what it's like. And it's my willpower, I guess. I just won't give up. I won't turn a blind eye. Life would be much easier if I just said, "Okay, I'm retired. I'm done being a Christian. I'm just going to be like one of these animals and I'm going to profit." And life would be much easier. But I just stick to it, and it's hard because I know I can sell drugs and I can make millions, because at one time I used to traffic marijuana back when it was illegal all across America. And I got busted in Illinois, And they caught me with 20 pounds of marijuana. I usually drop 10 pounds in Indiana, and then I drop 10 pounds in Michigan. I give them 2 weeks to come up with my money, and then I collect, and I go back down south, and I go buy more marijuana again. And I was making money left and right. Every time I would go back down south, I'd have probably usually around $25,000, $30,000 cash. And I was picking up marijuana anywhere from $90 a pound to $110 a pound. And then I had to pay the walkers to go through the checkpoint. And they charge me $100 a pound. And they go through I call it the jungle. It's the mesquite. It's real nasty, pokey stuff. The stuff that y'all love to barbecue with. It's nasty. It's all over the place down there. Excuse me. Farmers will let you come down there and cut down as much mesquite as you want. Go ahead and get it out there, because it pokes the cows and stuff like that. They have to treat their animals. So, but anyways, I go through there, and the checkpoint that I used to go through was El Budias. But anyways, I got busted, and I ended up with a sweetheart deal because I was fighting the case. And I told them when I was arrested, and I went to pretrial, all your evidence is supposed to be there. And all they had was a receipt, and my 20 pounds wasn't sitting on the table. So I was like, you guys, what'd you do with it? And they said, well, we destroyed it, but we have a receipt. Oh, okay. Okay.
Brother John, thank you very much for being a guest. Wow, our heads are spinning here. We need to do some more thinking as a group as to something a little more set and stable in terms of reaching out, in terms of being part of the answer for the way things are not even here in Eugene. Thank you for motivating us. Please.
Could we wait, could we meet in here after church and continue this?
Oh, would you be willing to come back for a few people that want to know more?
Sure.
You're good, Betty. Always have been. All right.
I have a lot of people fooled.
I'll be one of those.